live stream show that's a talk show on YouTube. And we think that's pretty cool. And we love that it's a brand new week.
Yeah, it's very cool. And it's a great week. There's just so much good going on in Cougar Nation around the world and with all the sports teams. Wise guys, we're so grateful to all of you from all over the place that join us each week from around the world. And for those that download the podcast or go find the YouTube video and watch it during the week, you're what keeps us going. That's why we're in year. Are we in year 4? Hey?
Yeah, we're in year 4.
We're in year 4.
We've crept into year 4.
Can't even believe it. And let's remember that Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus, Eddie, and Mountain America Credit Union. Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News. Watch for this week's podcast tomorrow, wherever you get your podcasts.
We invite you to subscribe to our free email at wiseguys.com, and you can watch all our past content. And we'd love it if you hit the free subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We'll grow those numbers. Plus, we want you to tell your friends about us. It's time that we expand the horizon here in Cougar Nation. So if your friend's a BYU fan, let them know what we've got going down on a Monday night or throughout the week on YouTube, whatever is most convenient. But we're here for the people.
Yeah, and all we're asking you to do is free stuff. Right?
That's right.
It's all free. Hit that free subscribe
That's our favorite
button.
price.
Yeah.
All right, let me tell you what we have tonight. BYU's defense dominates Stanford 27-3, so we'll hear from head coach Kalani Sitake in just a little bit.
Hall of Fame quarterback Gifford Nielsen is in studio. What does he think about the Bear?
The Bear. And you know what's great about Giff is he thinks a lot about that kind of stuff.
He does.
And so we're going to tap into his mind and see.
But Giff, we can go a lot of paths with Giff on different things.
We're going to maneuver around.
Yeah, because he's got a lot of insight and knowledge on a lot of different things. So we're going to pick his brain on a bunch of different stuff tonight.
So at the game, he was down on the field where he's always down there with some kind of presentation. Anyway, he was coming back up, and we were in our compound, our BYU TV compound, and he looked up at us and said, "I'll see you guys on Monday night."
That's right.
That's what we love about Gifford Nielsen. So we're going to have a great conversation with him. He'll take your questions as well. Plus, Brian K. Ashton, the president of BYU Pathway Worldwide, is going to be here. We've got an exciting announcement to make with BYU Pathway and Wise Guys. And also, we're going to talk about how expanding your education, or us expanding our educations, what that can do to improve our lives all over the planet, and how BYU Pathway is a pathway to doing that. So we're going to have a really cool conversation when he joins us live a bit later on.
Great stuff. Plus, as we do every week, we'll declare our Relight Athlete of the Week. No hints. I gave him a hint. They're not going to give you any hint.
Yeah, because you know what? We could have picked a number of guys.
Yeah, a lot of great performances this last week.
But the one we picked, I think, was the best.
Very good.
So that's coming up. As Beaumont, Texas says hello.
He's really young, and it's really great how amazing he is going to be, not only how good he is right now. There you go. There's your hint. There's
Jim from North Carolina, Henderson, Nevada, West Jordan, Utah, Harriman, Richfield, Saratoga Springs. Let us know where you're at around the world tonight. We'll try to give you as many shout outs as we can because we love doing that. Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus. Brady Plus provides cleaning, food service, and packaging equipment, dispensers, and service and repairs with over 150 distribution facilities across the country and over 6,000 employees. Learn more at bradyplus.com.
And by Eddie, HR and payroll software built for small businesses. Whether you run a dental office in Spanish Fork, Utah, or a construction crew in Lehigh, Eddie helps you hire, onboard, track time, and run payroll all in one place. Simple, local, reliable, built by business owners who believe people come first. See how Eddie can serve your team at eddy.com.
Another title sponsor for us is Mountain America Credit Union. We were up at their offices, their headquarters the other day.
So fun. That was awesome.
Had a great time. Mountain America Credit Union, helping people achieve their financial dreams for over 80 years. Whether you're buying a home, planning for retirement, or managing daily expenses, Mountain America has the tools, technology, and guidance to help you succeed. There's a lot of information waiting for you at MACU.com.
And our Relight Athlete of the Week, as mentioned, presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at Redmond.com.
All right. Wise Guys distributed by the Deseret News and Deseret.com, Utah's newspaper since 1850. And then, of course, they're on Facebook and X and everywhere else. And we're happy to be along for the ride with the Deseret News to take our show to a bunch of different places. As Rexburg, Idaho, there's Kyle. Robbie's in from Dallas. Cedar Park, Texas. There's Phil, Nick in from Pensacola, Florida. We welcome all of you as we kick into gear. It's fun being 2-0, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very
There's
fun.
a lot of teams that are 0-2 or 1-1.
We expected them to be 2-0, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We expected them to be really good on defense, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
I don't think they've disappointed us in any way, and we had high expectations. We thought they'd be lights out on defense. We thought the offense with a freshman quarterback would come along and grow. And so I think they're right on target.
You know what we didn't expect is a freshman quarterback to not have a turnover through two games. Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
We had a much more experienced quarterback last year, and the one before him, and even the one before him, that they were really good. They had turnovers all over the place.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
He's been careful with the ball. I think that A-Rod's done a really nice job of bringing him along, not asking him to do too much. I think he recognizes that he needs to manage the game right now, and he can grow each game and take on a little bit more. With a bye week this week, he gets an opportunity to kind of expand what they're going to do against East Carolina. But he's done a great job taking care of the ball. He hasn't forced the ball into places that it shouldn't go. He's protected the ball when he's been running the ball. And he's done the smart thing. He's got one of the best defenses in America, and he let them go out and be really, really good again. And they forced a bunch of turnovers off of from a quarterback who started for 3 years at Oregon State and is in his fourth year as a starter, and they forced 3 turnovers from his hand.
Yeah, how about that? How about AB and SC? Picked up some Redmond salt last week due to seeing them on the show. It's a great product. Glad they're helping the show with Wise Guys, and they are. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
The Mackeys are in from Drummond, Montana.
Always. They ever missed? Mackey's never missed.
There's Bella Vista, Arkansas. Jess, how about Naperville, Illinois? Russ on the stream.
Hey, Linda Murray. Linda never misses, and she goes on the cruise with us and introduced herself. And we got to meet her, and it's great. She says, Bears doing great with no turnovers. You're exactly right, Linda.
Farmington, Utah. Greg is in there. Let's see. Jeff and Mel checking in from Tooele. They love the show. They love the show every week, but everyone must know that Gift's on the show tonight.
Yeah, they're all
can feel
they're
buzz.
in early. There's a buzz about it.
It's a global buzz. How about the football polls? The AP Top 25 is out. BYU slipped a spot to 27. They were 26. And so now they're sitting at 27, which, you know what, is still right there. It's just in striking distance. You get a decent win next week, and you don't have to go very far to get in.
It's interesting because, as you know, I get to talk to coaches a lot since one lives at my house right now.
Right.
And they don't really care that much right now.
No, but fans do. And
fans
we do.
care. And I think if you're too far outside the top 25 and you're starting to play well, it takes a little longer to get in. They're a game or two away. If they have a couple impressive wins, they go on the road to East Carolina and then they beat Colorado on the road, that they make big jumps at that point, and then they're right where they need to be. Because the bottom line is you just go out and win the conference and it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
but you're in the college football playoff. Go win the conference, you're in the college football playoff.
Fans talk about it. It's a badge of honor when you're in the top 25. They're number 25 in the coaches poll. That remained the same from last week. And 18 now from ESPN FPI. Projected at 8.8 wins, so a 9-win season from the Football Power Index from ESPN. That would be 9-3.
And it's interesting, the FPI, and things change because they update the analytics to go into that every week.
Yeah.
But that's not the coaches poll where half the coaches hand the thing over to their ballot, over to their assistant and say, yeah, whatever, just do this. And it's not the AP where there's a bunch of writers on the East Coast that don't even know where BYU is.
Now, somebody ranked Florida. They went up 2 spots after getting beat at home by South Florida. And they did rank South Florida. And that was in the AP. So that's jacked up too.
So that ESPN Football Power Index and the win percentages and all that, that's a bunch of different data points that are entered into a system. The computer and AI spits that out every week. So at this point, I mean, there's a lot of data that's going to be added to that thing as the season goes on, but that's probably the most legit at this point.
Yeah, and the only thing the real good thing about being in the AP Top 25 is you're on the ESPN ticker.
Right.
And it just goes on all day long.
Why doesn't ESPN use their own poll for their ticker?
I don't know. Maybe the AP bought it. I don't know. But when the playoff poll comes out in a couple of months, then that becomes the thing.
That's all that really matters. So, ESPN announced their East Carolina TV details.
Yes.
So this is Saturday, September 20th. They have this week off. Let's start with this. BYU Sports Nation Game Day, which you and I will be on, is at 3:30 Mountain Time on BYU TV and on ESPN+. And then that BYU East Carolina game is at 5:30 Mountain Time on ESPN2. So it'll be national on ESPN2.
I like that. I like that better than CBS Sports Network.
100% better.
And better than Plus.
Just so much more availability. So.
Yeah, and it's prime time.
And then the post-game show, come on over and join us right after on the BYU TV app, and we'll be there for you.
Now, Kelly Ford puts out his rankings, and according to Kelly Ford, and a lot of people follow him, BYU's favored to win in 8 of their remaining 10 games. The 2 underdog games, Cougars have a 48% chance to win at Iowa State. If you're a 48% chance to win, that's just a fumble. One team fumbles, one team doesn't. There you go.
Turnover margin makes a difference in those types of games.
45% chance to win at Texas Tech, but they're favored in every other game. And I think as more and more people see this defense and this quarterback is going to develop, and we'll talk to Giff about that in a few minutes. But hey, that when you have the best kicker in the country, and you might have the best defense in the country, you'll be in every game,
right?
And you might not win every game, but you're going to win most of them.
Yeah, you're going to be that combination wins championships. It really does. We're great on defense, and your special teams and kicking game is lights out. You all the close games you win. That's how you end up having a great season. So
let me give a shout out to Paul in Cache Valley, Utah. Beautiful evening up there. All my grandkids live up there.
Yeah.
With my kids. That's an awesome place. David Woodruff is in from Columbia, Maryland, and then across the country, we've got Chris in from Seattle, Washington. So we're covering the country once again. We want to go overseas. We'll see what we got there. There's Covina, California with Russell. Sylvia's in from Wisconsin. And Cougar Nation is reporting, as they do every Monday night.
We know what's going to happen. The Philippines is going to show up.
Yeah.
Maybe someplace
Perth,
else
Australia
in Southeast Asia.
in.
Yeah, they'll all be in. You know what we haven't seen as much lately? We haven't seen Colombia in South. We haven't had as much South American representation. We have, I'm certain, on the download, but for them to be whatever time it is in the world there and to come on the live stream is always really cool to have them on here.
Yes, it is. So thank you very much on the stream. It's good to have you with us tonight. Those listening on the podcast, we love you guys too. And those watching on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube.
Hey, and if it's tomorrow and you're riding your bike and you're up to Canyon someplace, but you have your earbuds in, your AirPods, and you're listening to it, we love you too. We don't care how you do it. We're just glad to have you with us.
We love our fellow men here on the show. That's what we do. Let us know on the stream how you felt about that Stanford game. BYU wins it 27-3. A couple of things stand out to us. Cougars outrushed the Cardinal 157-29. And LJ was 18 carries for 110 yards.
Yeah, passing 175 for the Cougs, 142 for Stanford. A bunch of that came in the fourth quarter for Stanford.
Turnovers, Stanford had 3, BYU didn't have any.
That's the biggest stat.
Yeah, they almost had one. Kingston's got butterfingers on some of these punts.
Did you notice he wasn't out there after that one?
Yes, I did.
So, and it was Tiger that had a nice return.
He did have a great return.
BYU defense had 8 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. They played on the other side of the line of scrimmage all game long. And we were watching film last night to get ready for after further review tomorrow. As we watched it, we just marveled at how much of that game was played on Stanford's side of the football. For both when BYU was on offense, they were knocking people off the ball 3 and 4 yards downfield on run plays. And then on defense, BYU surge on every play. And this wasn't Portland State. This is Stanford. We recognize with Stanford, there's a lot going on with them trying to install new offenses and defense. That's still a big physical group up front with high-level recruits on both sides of the ball. So whether they're organized or not makes no difference when BYU's guys literally would line up, head up, and knock them into the backfield. That is impressive.
Chris in Seattle there says, I'm listening with my 11-year-old son, Taysom. 11 years, that's about right. I bet you there's a lot of Taysoms that are about 11 years old running around. Troy from Pensacola, Florida, looking forward to being there in Greenville, North Carolina.
Wow.
My son, Troy, asked to go to a BYU game for his birthday, so that's where they're going.
That's great.
Next week will be awesome for you guys. A couple other comments. Linda loved the defense. How about the kicking game? Will Ferrin, 4 for 4 field goals. He's now made 22 straight, which is an ongoing program record.
And he did not miss a single extra point last year, and he hasn't missed one this year. Remember, he kicked 9 extra points in the first game.
Think of how complicated all those things are, right? You got the snap, the hold, the kick, the whole group of people trying to block it, and you made 50 in a row just in extra points.
Yeah, we don't give enough credit to that whole team that puts that. First of all, the protection is important, but let's talk about Grimes and Vanderhaar as a key component of what happens every time Will kicks a field goal. He has absolute trust for those three, or for those two, that Grimes will get the snap back perfectly, that Vanderhaar will get it down and get it tilted exactly how he likes it, and then he'll just kick it right through the pipes.
Let's listen to Kalani Sitake. It's a bye week, but he addressed the media today. They didn't have any players today out in front of the microphones, but we'll hear from the head coach as he sets the tone a little bit for the week ahead and also touches on Stanford from Saturday night. Here's the coach.
All right, well, on to the bye week, but I had some good review from the game over the weekend, and saw some really good things on film. Confirmed some things, and then also brought some things that we know we can address and fix. Not an error-free game, but we left a lot of points on the board still. But proud of the way the team played, and looking forward to the next matchup. Obviously, we'll have a bye, so it'll be a work week for us still, especially the bye being so early. But we can get an early jump on East Carolina and making our first road trip out back east. So. There's a lot of good things happen, but I mean, we still want to build on the positive things that we're seeing, but also get some other things, some areas that we could really help our team be more efficient and specifically scoring more points. But we knew going into the game that Stanford was going to be really, really physical, and they're going to try to establish a physical presence at the line of scrimmage and offense and defense, and so as much as they can do with special teams. And I thought our team was really physical in all three phases, and that we can build off of that. Saw it on film and really impressed with our team and the way the coaches prepped them. So that was good. We needed that game, and so looking forward to building on it and getting better. So what questions do you guys have?
There's Kalani Sitake today, his opening remarks of his Monday news conference. Blaine, his defense is number one in the FBS in scoring defense, allowing 1.5 points. Yeah. And number one in the FBS in rush defense. They're giving up 7 yards a game.
Yeah, and they're number two in total defense by just a couple of yards.
Yeah.
And then there's after the top two, there's a big jump. So we recognize this is 2 games. But
and one was Portland State and the other was Stanford, but they ran a lot of plays against that defense. They just didn't go anywhere.
There's this identity that this defense has that's just a little bit different than what we've seen. I feel like it started to build mid-season last year, where they really started to believe that they could dominate. And then I think it hit the pinnacle at the Colorado game, and then I think they just picked up where they left off. I mean, they humiliated Colorado. And that trademark of this defense is, no, we're not just going to be assignment sound and contain you and make it difficult for you. We're actually going to physically beat the crap out of you in the game. And that's the mentality that they literally want to enforce their physical will on these teams and make them basically quit. They want them to quit and stop trying because they're going to hit them so much and so hard and be so physical. And if you want a great defense, the greatest defenses I've ever seen all have that mentality. And I feel like this is a thing that's been building, that continues to build, is that mentality. And I can say I didn't feel that about the defense, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Had some good players over there. They were solid, but man, this is a group that really, really enforces and puts their physical will right on you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Neil's on the stream from Tucson, Arizona. Larry's from up the road in Orem, Utah. Robert said, hey, it's our 53rd wedding anniversary today, and they're going to Universal Studios in California. Have a great time, and thanks for making the Wise Guys part of your anniversary.
Yeah, beautiful.
That feels right.
Yeah.
It feels like that was the right thing to do. I don't know how your wife feels about that, but we're behind you 100% on bringing us along.
Robert says, if BYU wins the conference and does well in the playoffs, Coach Hill will get recruited away by a bigger school.
Maybe.
It's a possibility.
Maybe.
Hey, who's the most likely? This, if you really watch it over the years, if somebody that Coach Hill has played against the last couple of years where they've just dominated, has the coaching changed, then they're folks that are in administration go, well, what about that guy that coached that defense that just dominated us? Is he thinking about going someplace else?
Could be.
So,
hey, if you're good and doing good, people want you. And if you're not doing good, then everyone's like, hey, we don't want anyone on that staff. We should, if every person on the staff is up for a job somewhere else at the end of the season, we've had a lot of fun.
That's right. It's been a great year. So if nobody wants your guys, that's not a good thing.
No, it isn't. All right, let's revisit Blaine's keys to the game. We like to hold him to the fire here. Each week he will make them, and then we follow up the following week. And we've got the 3 right here. These were the keys to the game to beating Stanford on Saturday night. Number 1, win the turnover margin.
And BYU handily did that 3-0.
Check. Yep. Number 2, force Stanford to pass, stop the run. Well, the Cardinal were held to 19 yards rushing.
Yeah, and until the third quarter, they had negative yards rushing.
Yeah, so
they couldn't run the ball at all. Then they were forced to throw it, and they turned the ball over.
Third key, establish the run early and then find a balance with the pass. In the first quarter, BYU ran 12 times for 83 yards. And I don't know. Did they ever find the balance? What do you think? Bear ended up with 175 yards passing.
They opened it up a little bit especially in that third quarter where they allowed Bear to throw the football a little more downfield. It's a work in progress. Each week gets better. That's why I love this schedule the way it rolls out here. That by the time they get to Colorado and then to West Virginia and then it gets tougher after that, he is able to find the receivers down that intermediate and get the ball over the top. We saw that beautiful post down the middle of the field that he completed, which was nice. He had a couple of nice crossing routes.
I think we should give you 3 for 3.
Yeah, I think that was the plan, and I think they executed it.
Okay, nice job. Chris is in from Nampa, Idaho, and Mathos from Farmington, Utah. Good to have you guys here. Here's the Cougar Board question of the week. Gifford Nielsen's going to join us in just a couple of minutes. I've got, let's see. If you're not familiar with Cougar Board, then you haven't been listening to this program, and we know you have been listening to this program, so we know that Cougar Board is the largest online community of BYU fans, thousands of posts every day. This question comes from Yolak Sentia, one of their insider subscribers, who writes, what steps did you see in Bears' development? Was there any regression given the increase in talent over Portland State? What'd you see?
Almost exactly what they're talking about is what I saw, and that is there was an increase in talent. There was a little more pressure. The defensive line was bigger and a little more physical. The defensive backs were bigger and able to cover better, and his performance took a little bit of a step up. Completed more balls. He played composed. He was able to get some yardage in the run game. He didn't force the ball in places that he shouldn't have. And so I think he took a step forward. I think the talent level on the other side of the ball stepped up, and I think that he stepped up to match it and then a little bit, which is all you can ask for him. So I think he's right where he needs to be right now.
That's the Cougar Board question of the week. Jay Beers says on the stream, yes, pay Jay Hill a bag of cash. What is a bag of cash?
How much is a bag of cash?
It's a bag of cash of ones? That's not going to do it.
You don't pay him any cash. Do an electronic transfer of a significant amount.
That's a Las Vegas thing. Yeah, just give him a bag of money. First of all, I was in Las Vegas for 20 years. I never saw anyone walking around with a bag of money.
No.
So,
and if you did, you were in the wrong place.
Yeah. Last week in the Big 12, what did we learn? Baylor beat SMU 48-45 in overtime, knocked SMU out of the top 25. About the same time last year that BYU went into Dallas and beat SMU. What did we learn about that?
Sawyer Robertson is the real deal at quarterback for Baylor, and he had a lot of preseason accolades of all these this guy's great preseason. About Big 12 quarterbacks, he's the one that's lived up to it the most. And he was really good down the stretch in that game and completed balls when it was most important. His focus seemed to get better the bigger the moment got. So that's what we learned. We learned Baylor's pretty tough mentally, and we learned that Sawyer Robertson's an excellent quarterback. In the clutch, he came through, and they won that game.
Oregon beat Oklahoma State 69-3. We learned that Oklahoma State is not back.
No.
And they're in big trouble.
Who said they were? People are like, well, they've got to come back because they've got,
Yeah.
Because Mike, their coach, has been there forever.
And Oklahoma State, and they're this. And last year was whatever. Well, last year is just carried over into this year.
Yeah, and Oregon is good with tons of resources and a lot of talent. But Oklahoma State looked miserable in that game.
Eric's on the stream from Singapore. So, Eric, good to have you with us. Giff Nielsen's coming up in just a couple of minutes. Iowa State beat Iowa 16-13 on a big, long field goal at the end. That was interesting. It's a rivalry game, so I think you got to throw that one out. We just learned that Iowa State's tough. They're going to be tough. That game was at home, and they were tough at home.
Remember the last time Iowa State came to Provo to play BYU, the last time they played, Iowa State pushed BYU all over the field. Yeah, and BYU said, okay, that's the standard in this league. We have got to get bigger, stronger. We've got to be way more physical up front. And now BYU is bigger, stronger, way more physical up front. I can't wait for that game. It's back in Iowa. But, Iowa State's probably the most physical team across the board in the league. And outside of BYU. Because I think defensively, BYU is clearly the most physical team in the league.
It's going to be a big game.
And so that's a great game. And you know what? I like Rocco Becht. He always seems... They win a bunch of close games. Like, I think Baylor's going to run away from some people. They're really explosive offensively, as is Texas Tech. Iowa State's just pretty conservative with what they do offensively. But Becht does not make mistakes in close games, and they win a bunch of these close games.
Mississippi State scored on a bomb toward the end and beat Arizona State 24-20. We learned that Scadaboo is playing for the New York Giants.
That's the biggest lesson.
And that was a big deal.
What we've learned is that Sam Levitt, as a complementary player to Scadaboo, was really effective. And where his numbers have not been good for a couple games because they're asking him to carry the thing. Like, he's running the ball all over the place. He's trying to throw it. He's got one really good wide receiver, but without Scadaboo and without that play action ability to just hold backers because everybody just trying to get downhill so he doesn't run over the top of them, that has changed who they are offensively. They're still physical. They still have a lot of team speed. Mississippi State's no joke at home. No SEC team is, right?
No.
And they hung in there. But Sam Levitt, he's going to have to keep getting better. And without Scadaboo, that's a big task. If they're going to compete for the championship again this year, Levitt's got to continue to get better.
With Scadaboo out of there, the linebackers can then focus on Levitt.
Right.
I mean, when BYU played Arizona State, it was like Scadaboo this, Scadaboo that, and then it was still Scadaboo this and Scadaboo that.
It's like, hey, we're going to give it to him, and he's going to run right here. And then a guy would meet him.
And then he'd do it.
He'd just run over the top of him or bounce off like a bowling ball.
Army beat Kansas State in Manhattan 24-21. Army just got beat at home by Tarleton State. And then they went on the road to Kansas State. This is what tells me Kansas State is once again the most overrated team in the Big 12. They were in the top 25 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and here, Avery Johnson at quarterback, and I like him as a person. So I want to state that he's a really good young man.
Yeah.
And he is a crazy athlete. Like, he runs 4.4. He's long. I'm sure he's a crazy good basketball player. Can jump out of the gym. So he's this crazy athlete. But his consistency at quarterback has hurt them because he's up and down.
Yeah.
And he was down. And he's had a hard time consistently making the right choices and delivering accurate balls. He's like the opposite of Rocco Becht. Rocco, they don't make him do all of these spectacular things, but he just doesn't make any mistakes. Always comes up with the throw. It's where it's supposed to be. It's out on time. It's in the right spot. And Avery Johnson is this wild athlete running all over the place, but they have mistakes at big times in games, and they lose to Army. So that's my lesson from Army Kansas State last week. This
week in the Big 12, Colorado's at Houston Friday night at 5:30 on ESPN, and Kansas State's at Arizona Friday night at 7 on Fox. So 2 Big 12 games on TV on Friday night. There goes, Friday night. There's your plans, a doubleheader. Get some pizza and the family around. And then Oregon State's at number 21, Texas Tech, Saturday, 1:30. These are all Mountain Time on Fox.
Texas Tech they look good.
Yeah.
They got a lot of pub, and they look like they're playing well. Their offense, they run that spread and throw it all over, and I like Baron Morton, that quarterback.
They announced the Utah game with Texas Tech is at 10 a.m. in 2 weeks in Salt Lake City, 10 a.m. on Fox.
So that's 11 a.m. for them.
Yeah, and noon on the East Coast. 10 a.m.
That'll be
Salt Lake.
And it's such a different challenge for Utah. Utah's likes to play against teams where we're just going to stop them from running the ball.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure Texas Tech even cares if they can run it. It's like we'll just throw it 60 times. We don't care. We got 4 really good wide receivers and a great quarterback. So go ahead, stop the run all day long. We're just going to throw for 500 yards.
West Virginia is going to be in Provo in a couple of weeks. In a few weeks, actually. They're in some trouble. Pittsburgh, they play Pittsburgh at home on Saturday in their rivalry game, 1:30 on ESPN. And this is not in the Big 12, but it's interesting to BYU fans. East Carolina is at Coastal, 5:30 Mountain Time on ESPN Plus, and then BYU will play at East Carolina the following week.
Yeah, I was looking at a little film of East Carolina last night, and do you know who they remind me of on offense? Texas Tech. So it'll be a little bit of a preview. It'll have to be a similar game plan. They run a spread, and they throw that quick pass game all over the place, a little bit of air raid in them. And so BYU's prep for East Carolina will actually help them because they can rely on some of the same principles if they have success with it, which I think they will when they play Texas Tech later in the season.
Bruce from Santan Valley, Arizona on the stream. Bruce, good to have you with us. I know it's early in the season, but sometimes these bowl games like to put out what everyone's saying about them.
Yeah.
And the Pop-Tarts Bowl, they're fully committed to hyping the whole season. And they put out a full graphic on where the media thinks BYU will be, and a lot of them have them playing Notre Dame in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. ESPN projects that. Jerry Palm, CBS, College Football Network, and Sports Illustrated target Florida State and BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Those would be great. I'd take either of those, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But you know what I won't take? I don't want any of that because I want them in the college football playoff.
Brett McMurphy today, he's got BYU playing South Carolina in the Liberty Bowl. The Gamecocks, I think, are 10th in the country.
And Brett McMurphy, he's not the biggest BYU fan,
no,
really.
He's a big Utah fan.
Yeah, but yet he's got BYU playing a top 10 team right now in South Carolina in that bowl.
Week 2, and so this is kind of, when it's out there, we like to put it on our show because you're out there. We're all out there, right? And it's fun to see. Fun to see someone going, I think it'll be BYU Notre Dame in that game. We're like, okay.
That would be really fun.
Let's take that. BYU recruits over the weekend. Pretty quiet weekend. Brock Harris didn't play in their win over Timpanogos down in St. George for Pine Valley, but he was up at the Stanford game. So I saw him tweeting some stuff out about that's his future home. And then Ryder Lions, they got killed. He threw for 177 and a touchdown, but Mission Viejo beat Folsom 53-14. So, a little slice of humble pie that can go a long ways.
I didn't realize Mission Viejo was that good. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I guess not every, you got to go out there and play, right?
You got to play the game. So
some scheduling news. BYU and Oregon State will start the 2028 season in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium in the Vegas Kickoff Classic. The specific day is TBA, but it'll be the opener, whether it's at the end of August or early September. BYU also scheduled to face Boston College in Provo in 2028. Our first guest was an All-American quarterback at BYU. He played 6 seasons in the NFL and most recently served 11 years as a general authority, 70 for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Our pleasure to welcome back to the Wise Guys this member of the College Football Hall of Fame, our good friend Gifford Nielsen. Good to see you.
You guys really are wise guys. It is so good to be with you.
Listen, when you hear Oregon State, does your knee hurt? It was in that game in 77 that kind of ended your collegiate run, ended your Heisman Trophy run as you got hurt there. And then you went, after that year, you went right into the NFL. But Oregon State has got to have some kind of a, when I thought of Oregon State and in playing in Vegas and that we were going to talk about it, I thought it was ironic that we were also going to introduce you right after that.
Well, it's one of the great lessons that I have learned in life because everything was just going so beautifully. And it was just, I think at the time we were the leading scoring team in the nation. We had the leading pass offense in the nation. We were just making things happen very high level at that time. And you just never know, in a game, just one play tackle coming in from the outside and one of our tackles doing the best job he possibly could. And then your knee gets hurt and you're done.
You're 21, 22?
Yeah.
So you're 21, 22-year-old. How did you manage through that? And can you remember what that was like? That's got to be devastating. So how do you personally manage through that? And then that kind of a devastating setback, when you did overcome it, because obviously you did, what lessons did you learn?
Well, it was interesting because before the season started, I was coming off my All-American year, and I thought, okay, this is going to be amazing what we're doing right now, and we were only going to get better. So for some reason, Wendy, my wife, and I got together before the season was over with, and we wrote down our priorities, the things that were most important. And I don't know why we did that, but we did that and
in 1977
and put it in an envelope. And it was interesting because the priorities really centered on not what I was accomplishing, but what BYU was starting to accomplish because it had never happened. The national recognition had never gotten to that level, and the excitement in football had never gotten to that level. And so we wrote down the priorities, and it was very interesting. We put it in an envelope and put it in the drawer. and didn't think about it. Then we started off gangbusters, and everything was just moving, and it wasn't about us. It wasn't about me. It was more about the team and everything else. And so when I got it hurt, and I had the surgery, there were a lot of people on that Sunday morning because they did the surgery that night. Dr. Robert Metcalf did the surgery that night, and I said to Wendy, I said, hey, I got up, and the whole room was just, people had tears in their eyes. It was just a crazy time. I said, hey, go get that letter. So she went and got the letter, brought it to me, and in the hospital, we opened up the letter, and it had nothing about repeat All-American quarterback, nothing about the Heisman Trophy. It had everything to do with our players winning and BYU establishing itself more as a football power. And I thought, well, first, second, third, fourth priorities, it's all going to happen.
Still on the table.
And it continued to go. So
That's great.
it was a great lesson. And I'm not sure to this day why we were inspired to do that, but we did that. And it was one of the great lessons that I've ever learned, that, you know, it's not about you. You can hear that all the time. It's not about you. It's about the program and everything that we were trying to develop.
Here's Timothy on the live stream. Dropping the kids off at school in Australia. Realize I'm late for Wise Guys. Happy to jump on and hear some stories from a legend.
Good day, mate.
It's tomorrow, so kids are already going to school in Australia.
When we have, that's what we were talking about earlier, Giff, you were here in the green room, and it's like folks check in, they go, hey, I'm in from Philippines. Yeah. It's 10 a.m. I'm sitting in the office listening. Cougar Nation is all over the world. You talk about they weren't recognized yet.
Spent a lot of time in Australia. Yeah. Good day, mate. All of those great people in Australia. Love them.
Sports is laced with life lessons. It's what makes it so good. It's what makes everyone relate to it, even if they don't get to the NFL, right? They're just playing on their side yard. That thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, ABC coined that phrase perfectly for Wide World of Sports. But what did you learn about yourself? Because we love comeback stories. And you had to have a comeback story. You had to have surgery. And then you had to come back and get NFL ready, which is different from college ready. What did you learn about your comeback story?
Yeah, very interesting, because the Houston Oilers at that time took a chance on me.
Yeah.
And so I didn't play the rest of that year. We were starting off and just the leading team in the entire country, leading scoring team, passing team, offensive team. It was just amazing what was going on. And then the injury. And then you start to get yourself ready for what is the next chapter. And Dr. Metcalf did a great job on my knee, and I started the rehab.
Was it an ACL, Giff?
It was a medial collateral that detached away from the bone. Oh. So it's really a good, if you have a knee injury, that's a good knee injury, because what happened is they just reattached the medial collateral, and it wasn't a damaged ligament, stapled it to the bone, and to this day, I have never had any problem with it.
That's better than it tearing mid.
If you tear it, then you have to piecemeal it back together. But
and better than an ACL for sure.
Yeah.
But Robert Metcalf, we should give him a little credit. Like, BYU was on the cutting edge. Robert Metcalf, to this day, is still considered the father of arthroscopic surgery.
So this is interesting, Blaine. Do you want to hear this? This is fascinating, because Blaine said, Dave said, sorry, Dave, I'm going to your dad.
That's an honor
Dave,
for me. So you call me that.
So Dave, he would never be sad if you call him Dale.
Dave said to me, he said, give me a President Nelson story. You want to hear a great President Nelson story?
Yeah.
So here he is, our prophet, and he sat down at lunch with me one day in the lunchroom, and that's just his leadership style. And we were talking about, I said to him, I said, President, how did you come up with the heart-lung machine? How did you figure out that you had to take blood out of the body and fix the heart and then put blood back in the body? And he said, well, we were just kind of inspired on how to do it. We'd figured out how to do it. And it was like my dear friend, Robert Metcalf. And I went, President, what'd you say? And he said, my dear friend, Robert Metcalf, I had the heart-lung machine, and our team was working on that, and he was working on a new operational situation called arthroscopic surgery. And I said, President, you're not going to believe this, but Robert Metcalf operated on my knee in 1977, and I've never had a problem with it. And he goes, was it arthroscopic surgery? And I said, there is one little cut in my knee. He tried to do it with arthroscopic surgery, and he couldn't do it. So then he had to do the regular surgery. And I just thought, how cool was it to be talking to the prophet about his close friend, Robert Metcalf?
It's really cool.
Isn't that amazing?
And it comes full circle. Yeah. And BYU has always had the best and the brightest affiliated with the program, whether it's on the field or the people that support what's on the field. And we go back because Dr. Metcalf was there when I first got there as well. And then I went off and did a career in orthopedics, and people would talk about, well, Robert Metcalf. And I thought, that was our team orthopedic guy.
Yeah, it was a guy.
Pretty amazing that he did your knee and no ill effects from it.
No problem.
Full strength.
6 years in the NFL and never had a problem with it. Even to this day.
That's
never
awesome.
Had a problem
Amazing.
With it.
More President Nelson stories from you coming up. Jacob's on the stream from Louisville, Kentucky. Debate's in from Chile. Good to have you with us.
There we go, South America in the house.
We expand the horizon here tonight. BYU legend Gifford Nielsen is on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus, Eddie, and Mountain America Credit Union. All right, let's get to the story at hand. Bear Bachmeier. 2 games in, he's 2-0. Saturday was 17 of 27, 175 yards. No interceptions, rushed the ball 12 times for 7 yards, scored a touchdown, got sacked 3 times. Stanford came at him a little more aggressively than Portland State. What do you think about this freshman quarterback?
I'm a Bear fan. I am a Bear fan because this is a tenacious young athlete, and I really like the way he approaches the game. Everyone in Cougar Nation needs to be patient. Mm-hmm. As a quarterback, you have to be able to get and understand what capabilities you have and what you can do. Because, Blaine, you know this. When you're a freshman quarterback and you look downfield, nobody's open. And you just have to have repetition after repetition after repetition. I don't know if this has been said, but I want you all to think about this, because there was a game inside of a game on Saturday night. And I don't know if that's been brought up.
No.
Bear left his team at Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
You think that those guys were not going to come in and go after that little quarterback and just hit him as hard as they could and just keep coming after him and coming after him and coming after him? And I can tell you that there were some pretty interesting conversations on the field, and there were some pretty interesting words that were said on the field. And the thing that I like about this kid is he got hit a few times and he got hit hard, but that was the game inside the game. This was not a very friendly situation for him on that field because he and his brother left Stanford. Mm-hmm. You don't leave somebody and then just go into a game and say, "Hi guys, how are you doing?
Great to see you.
It sure is good to see you." Now you get pounded, and I'm telling you, those defensive coaches said, "You know what, that little quarterback, we're going to beat the tar out of that kid. We're going to go after him, and we're going to hit him so hard, and he's going to know that we're around." And Stanford had a very good football team. That defense was big. They were strong. They had, like you said, Blaine, early in the program, they've got great defensive backs. And so patiently, Bear just did his thing, and he stood in there and he threw the ball when he needed to throw it, and he completed passes when he needed to complete, and he took care of the ball. And when you got a great defense, you're gonna have opportunities, and he had more opportunities. If there, and I don't think it was a holding call on the jet sweep.
No.
Yeah, I agree. Kalani didn't either.
And I think Kalani,
he got all over the refs. He was not happy.
And I think maybe Bear got in on the scrum when everybody was pushing him in.
Yeah.
This is a 45 or 50-3 game. If those touchdowns.
The block in the back was legit. That was not smart. They had to settle for a field goal there too.
Okay.
So they settled for 4 field goals when they could have easily scored touchdowns.
Yeah.
And little errors and bad calls.
Yeah.
Dave interviewed, you'll love this, Dave interviewed Bear last week and said, would you prefer to run over a guy at the goal line or throw a touchdown pass? And he says, I think I'd rather run over a dude.
No. I got to get with him. I got to talk to him because you got to
talk some sense
you got to
this
take
kid.
care of it. But that's his mentality right now.
He's a tough guy.
He's a fearless kid. He just wants to go out and win and play well, and the game is going to open up for him as he gets more repetition.
What did you see?
It's really important. Let me just say this to all Cougar Nation and everybody that's listening right now. It is so important just to get wins. Early in the season, just win and keep the confidence coming. If you lose a game, then you start to question, and you got an elite defense. They want to continue to play well and win. They know they've got a young quarterback, but you just have to win. Well, he's 2-0, and he hasn't given the ball away, and he's just doing what he needs to do right now to continue to get comfortable in his position. Here's what I see. Every team that they play will come after him. They've got blitz packages. They're going to be bringing people all over the place. Blaine, you also know this, that once you start to recognize blitz packages, you can burn people. But as a freshman quarterback, you've got to be able to see it, and you've got to be able to say, okay, man, they're overloaded on the left-hand side or they're overloaded on the right-hand side. I'm not protected. I've got to slide a line. I've got to get some people out there. And a couple of times some people came free.
Yeah.
Stanford did a really nice job with their scheme. So the thing that I saw is I saw a young quarterback continuing to grow up. And he's going to continue to get better. We all saw the strength of his arm, put a really nice throw into Chase down the middle of the field. I think you saw a Zach Wilson throw to Carson on the flat. That thing got out there very fast.
He's got velocity.
He's got velocity on his throws. Pinkston, he threw it a little bit too hard when Pinkston was coming across, or Pinkston would have scored a touchdown on that play.
Parker had a tough game.
He had a tough game.
That ball came out at like 60 miles an hour if I'm 5 yards away.
But if he just lays that in there, Parker scores.
Yeah.
And those are just things that the intensity of the pocket will help you as you get used to more of it. But I'm a
How long did it take you, Giff? Because I watched, because I was watching back home, and you're one of the reasons I came here. When you were at the end of your career and somebody would show a blitz package, and I'm certain in your mind, because I remember when it finally got this way for me, where you're just going, oh, come on, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Like, you guys are going to do this?
Yeah.
Like, in your own mind, you're like, this is a touchdown.
Well,
right?
you just say.
But when did you make that switch from, my goodness, what are they doing, to, oh, please tell me they're not doing this because we're going to score on this play?
Yeah. I think you just evolve into it, Blaine. The more you see it, the more you understand it, the more you just have to make sure that your blocking schemes will protect you, right? And I think that once again, the Cougars are 2-0, and Bear is their quarterback, and he's just going to continue to get better, and he's a tenacious athlete. It was interesting. I went to practice right before the opener, and Kalani said, "Will you say something to the team? And then will you just talk to Bear for just a minute?" And I just want to share this. I'm not going to share everything that we talked about, but I said to our team, I said, okay, it was 50 years ago, in 1975, that we were dreaming of having players like this here. We had some great players. Todd Christensen was a great player. Billick was a great player. You can get Chronister was a great player. Blank was we had so many really good players, but we didn't have the big, strong, powerful linemen that they have in today's game. And I said, 50 years ago, I can remember with Lavelle thinking, this is the dream. So I'm telling the team this. I said, so 50 years later, I'm talking to all of you, and I'm thinking, this is what we were trying to accomplish 50 years ago, where you're in the national conversation. And it doesn't matter if they're in the top 25 right now. Forget about that. Just go play and win and keep doing what you're doing. And I said, told every one of them, I said, okay, so every team has its story. You guys are going to write a story. What's that story going to be like? Is it going to be a bestseller? Is it going to be one of the top stories of all of college football? And I said, I think it's going to be, because you guys are special, you care about each other, and it's a level of trust. And then Bear came to me, and Kalani had me just talk to him just for a little bit, and I said, Bear, you're young, you're in the huddle, you're looking up at all these veteran players, but you're the quarterback. And you can never take a day off. You can't take a play off, you can't take it. You have to look around, and if somebody is not doing what they're supposed to do, you've got to let them know that they need to run harder, they need to block better, because you're the quarterback. And you might be young, but you are the quarterback at BYU. What an honor. And he just kind of said, yes, sir.
Oh,
yes, sir.
He's a sponge, don't you feel, Gifford? I had a chance to visit with him for a little bit, and he just wants, he wants to think about it. He wants to be thoughtful. He wants to do the right thing. He wants to be part of BYU, and he wants to do everything that Kalani's asking him to do. I mean, he's all in on all of this stuff.
Oh, no question.
On everything on the field, in the classroom, the culture. He is all in. I'm convinced of that after talking to him a couple of times, and it's really nice and refreshing.
It is refreshing, and to all Cougar Nation, I'm just telling you right now, every team is going to come after him, and they're going to hit him, and they're going to hit him hard. This kid will he'll get back up and he'll pick his spots, and all of a sudden he'll throw something, and you're going, oh my gosh, that's what we've got.
Eric's on the stream from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Trayson over in Savannah, Georgia. David from Ojai, California, and many others. Jeff, we're gonna try to get to your question. Let's remember this one, because we got some football still to tackle here. Please ask Elder Nelson about his experiences with the Saints in Africa, given the explosive growth happening there now. I'd enjoy hearing his perspective about the growth of the church there. So let's footnote that, and we'll come back.
We'll come back and do that one for sure.
We're in this bye week now, and we got 2 weeks until East Carolina. What do you want Bear to work on over this next week and a half, now that he's away from game mode for a little bit?
Continued confidence in the pocket, and continued confidence in himself and trust in himself. You don't really know how fast things are until you get on the field, right, Blaine? Mm-hmm. You got guys coming around, inside, outside. You have to just feel the pocket. And so I want him to just continue to have confidence in himself and look at what he's done, continue to refine his skills, and get to a point where he just feels like he is the leader. And it just takes repetition. You can't coach it. You can't say, hey, Bear, you're the leader. No, you have to go put yourself under the center, and then you have to receive the ball, and then you have to watch people fly all around you and stand with confidence in that pocket and lead this team. You've got a world-class defense. Isn't this defense amazing to watch? They're just fast, and they're strong, and they're big, and they're powerful. You've got special teams that are very, very special. And then you've got an offense that just has to do what it needs to do for him to continue to get comfortable. And you know what's going to happen? I will just tell you this. It's going to happen. One day you're just going to wake up and you're going to say, oh, my gosh, I don't think he's a freshman quarterback anymore. He might be a sophomore. Yeah. And he's going to, oh, look at that throw. I think he's a junior.
I hope he's a sophomore by Colorado.
Yeah. Maybe even by, I don't know. Colorado's pretty good. They've got a lot of talent, but
well, I mean, look at the stretch. I mean, you're going to go on the road to East Carolina. That's not going to be an easy game because you're going all the way across the country. Then you got Colorado, and you got West Virginia coming back here. That should be a nice one for us to play back here. And you got Utah coming in. I mean, you think Utah's going to sit back and just say, hey, Bear, it's good to meet you? No, they're not going to do that.
I don't think so.
So, I mean, you're going to have teams, you're going to have good, strong teams coming after him.
How important is it for this offensive line in the run game to continue to produce for this young quarterback?
There's no question it has to happen. Because I'm a Keaton Slovis guy. I loved Keaton Slovis, right?
Right.
But you can't throw 50 times a game in the Big 12. So what Keaton kept going out there doing is playing hurt. His elbow was hurt, his shoulder was hurt, but he just kept playing because he kept getting pounded. You can't do that. You have to run the ball. And these guys got to know that they have to run the ball to take pressure off Bear. If he gets in a situation where he's throwing 35 to 40 times a game, we're not going to win. We can't do that.
LJ's got to have 100 yards.
He's got to have 100 yards.
Yeah, that's a great formula.
And you know what? Little
Sione Moa?
Yeah. What a player he is.
He's been really good.
You have to be able to run the ball. And then I think one of the things that Aaron has to do is I think Aaron has to make things just a little bit easier for him, and he will. And I think just utilizing I want to utilize Carson just a little bit more inside. You know, I'm looking, I see games differently, you see games differently, and I'm looking at is he reading the defense and is he getting the ball to the appropriate person? And we're seeing that he is doing that. Mm-hmm. He had in the first game against Portland State, he had Carson up the middle. He looked off and he came back and he had man coverage and it was a touchdown. And that's exactly, the ball was bobbled just a little bit, but he was in man coverage and it was a touchdown. I'm thinking, Bear, great job. You threw it to the right guy.
Found the right guy.
Yeah. You found the right guy. And if he continues to find the right guy, and I think utilizing the tight ends inside will kind of open up the game for everyone, the outside guys.
And isn't it important for A-Rod? So you play with Doug Scoville, who recruited me, and Doug knew you. Like, he knew what you liked to do. He knew what you were good at. And as he's calling plays, he's tailoring what he's calling for Gifford Nielsen. This
Exactly.
is Giff's skill set. And you knew that that's what he was doing.
Yep.
And I had Mike Holmgren, I had Norm Chow, and I get thrown in that national championship game. And the first thing Mike Holmgren does is he pulls me over and goes, hey, Norm and I know what you like.
Yeah.
Like, we got you. Like, we're going to call all the things you're really, really good at. So just get out there and just play, right?
Right.
How important is it that A-Rod figure that out for Bear? Because it's not as he hasn't been around for a couple of years for them to figure that out. He's only been here. How important is it that by the time this Big 12 comes, he knows exactly what Bear's comfortable with and what he's best at?
It's vital. I mean, you are only as good, honestly, you're only as good as your offensive coordinator and your quarterback coach. You have to have that. You have to have that relationship. That's one of the reasons that I believe Zach Wilson struggled so much in New York, because Greg Knapp, right after he was drafted, died.
Yeah,
and I'm
that's
thinking,
right.
oh, Zach, oh my gosh, you're in New York and you don't have a quarterback coach. You're dead.
And he's the
now-
one that wanted him there.
And he was the guy, and he was running the same offense as all of the West Coast offense.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, oh, Zach, I feel so bad. You have to have a quarterback coach, and A-Rod is really good. I mean, look at what he's done. But he can help him out a little bit more with easier throws and high percentage throws. Let Bear just continue to grow and develop that way. But I'm really impressed with A-Rod and everything that he's doing.
Gifford Nielsen is on the Wise Guys, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch all around the world tonight. Let's shift gears for a couple of minutes. President Nelson turns 101 tomorrow, which is amazing. You can look at it 20 different ways. It's amazing every single time. 101 tomorrow. Considering all of your personal interactions with him over the years, and I asked you to think about this coming in, what are some of your most memorable moments?
Well, one was that he invited me to MC with Ruth Todd, his 95th birthday party.
It was a long time ago.
That's
It was
right.
a long time ago, and so we did it. He had 21,000 of his closest friends in the conference center, and he had millions around the world just watching and celebrating his 95th birthday. And here we are, 101 years of age, and he is just so delightful to be around. His leadership style is to be around all of us. So we all have personal stories with him and personal experiences with him, because he would open up the lunchroom and he kind of, with the first presidency and the Quorum of the 12, we could actually have lunch. And one of the conversations was about Robert Metcalf.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting when your last name is Nielsen and his last name is Nelson.
Yeah.
It's really interesting if your wife's name is Wendy and his wife's name is Wendy.
Right. I didn't
And
think
it's
about
really
that.
interesting, and I think I'm going to get this right. I hope I get this right. But his secretary before she had a baby was Wendy K. Larson Olson. Might have been. I think that's what it was. And my wife is Wendy K. Olson Nielsen. And so it's, with us, we've had some funny stories, and we'll just tell one quick story.
Sure.
And I was walking down the hall. Well, let me just preface it by saying this. When you are a general authority, your mail, it goes to 47 East South Temple. So everybody's mail goes there, because you never know where you're going to be sent in the world, and you never know the day at the time. So we got all of our mail at 47 East South Temple, even his. So he came down the hallway one time, and I said, "Hello, President." He said, "Hi, Giff." He calls us by our first name. "Hi, Giff." And I said, "How you doing today?" And he says, "Fine. I just about paid your power bill this morning." And I said, "You did what?" And he said, "Yeah, I wrote out a check to pay for the power bill, and I found out it was your power bill and not ours." And you know what I thought to myself? Can I have that check? Can you just, I want to frame that
Sure.
check. I want to put it up there. But he is just he's such an inspiration to be around. And you just think of the wisdom. Let me just say this. I don't think there is a more deeply spiritual, smarter, gifted communicator who has increased his talents more than anyone on the face of the earth. I would put him up against anyone. The number of languages he speaks, the number of, the heart-lung machine is an indication. The inspired things he tells us at general conference all the time.
He just craves
it's
knowledge,
marvelous.
right? His whole life, it's just been craving and taking in knowledge. And
Yeah, so we're hoping to celebrate his 105th birthday and his 110 birthday. We want him to just keep going.
So for folks to try and picture this, You're walking down the hall there at the church administration building, and we've all had the chance to be there. And you walk past the lunchroom, and there's President Nelson. He's like, "Hey, Giff, come over and sit down."
Yeah.
It's that.
He would
It's
do
that
that.
casual.
I've had 3 or 4 experiences where he's been waiting for me, and he'd say, "I want you to have lunch with me because I need to talk to you about a few things." And I'm thinking, okay, sure.
And has he ever once said, and be honest, because you're an honest guy, has he ever once said, "Giff, what are we doing on third down?"
No, but I'll tell you what, they're all involved in what we're doing on the football field and on the basketball court and all the fields at BYU.
Yeah.
They really, really care about BYU athletics. I love this. Let me just say this too, because you've got President Brian Ashton. I
Sure.
love President Brian Ashton. And when we start talking about Africa and what Brian is doing with BYU Pathway Worldwide, BYU Pathway Worldwide, in many respects, is the answer in Africa, in West Africa. Stake presidencies involved in BYU Pathway Worldwide, bishoprics, Relief Society presidents, primary presidents, and they feel like that it is the way that they elevate themselves in the community. And so the reason that West Africa is growing so significantly is because of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to talk about Jesus Christ, but everybody wants to add to that eternal families. And you want to add to that self-reliance. The glory of God is intelligence.
Yeah.
And what Brian Ashton, President Brian Ashton, and all of the people with BYU Pathway Worldwide, ask him about it when he comes
we
on.
will.
We will.
Oh, we will. We got a lot of questions from
about what's happening in West Africa. We have almost, I don't know what the latest numbers are, but it's probably pretty close to 20,000 BYU Pathway students in Nigeria alone. We've got a university in West Africa without a building, no buildings, but we have that kind of.
And isn't that an extension of President Nelson's vision for go improve your life with education, and it's not just BYU and it's not Rick's, right? It's BYU Idaho now, and you look at the whole family, and we'll talk with President Ashton about it, but the whole education family with BYU Pathway, now there's really the world is the campus.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that well said, because that's exactly what they believe there. What happens with BYU Pathway Worldwide and with the curriculum and everything that they're doing, especially in West Africa, because I'm familiar with that, it's the pathway to self-reliance. It's the pathway for somebody to go get married and to have an eternal family and to have children and grandchildren.
Don't take all of President Ashton's answers. He's got to have some of those answers.
This guy is one of the smartest guys on the planet, and he's got so many more answers
That's awesome. We look forward to it. We're going to visit with him in just a bit. Mark's on the stream from Liberty, Missouri here tonight. Blaine, let's do 5 questions.
Yeah, let's do this.
For Giff. We're going to get back to football. And our 5 questions are presented by Strategy Square. Let Chantel give your company's social media presence a boost. Find out how at strategysquare.co. Tonight, the College Football Hall of Famer and NFL veteran is going to reveal the top 5 most influential people in your football career. Now, we categorize it football career because there's so many influential people in your life. But let's hone in on football.
So can I go 5?
Yeah,
Let's go 5, 4, 3. I have a feeling I know a few, but
I want to put Dick Hill and Bry Lake, my high school coaches at Provo High School.
Are they number 5?
Yeah, because Dick Hill got it started, and Bry Lake was our coach our senior year, and that's when we should have won the state championship and didn't. But we were so close. So I put those high school coaches because they were there in our football career to get us focused on what was going to happen. And you know what? 5 of our guys on the Provo High School football team that year got scholarships at BYU. That's almost unheard
That's
of.
a lot.
Were the Law Boys playing when you were there?
And
then they went to
Vance was just in with
basketball,
us.
right?
We just went
Vance
from
was here
one
last
to
week,
next.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now look, Bry Lake. How do you
Bry
say
Lake,
how do you spell
is
his
it
name?
BRI?
B-R-Y.
Oh, BRI, Bry Lake and Dick Hill.
Lake.
I think it's B-R-Y.
You know, high school coaches too. So 5 of you went on, which is a lot.
Yeah.
But high school coaches play such a vital role in society. They mold the other 100 that didn't go play. I'm certain were impacted by these guys, and it changed their life. The opportunity to play high school football.
I mean, if you just think about where you start. I mean, Dev Duke was kicking. Kelly Harris was a lineman. Steve Dewey, lineman. Reed Brown, Jeff Smith. I mean, it was just we were all headed to BYU. It's just
so fun.
Dick Hill and Bry Lake, number
they're
5.
number 5. They're co-5. How about 4?
Okay, number 4 is King Hill. King Hill was one of the great players for the Philadelphia Eagles, but he was my quarterback coach when I went to the NFL. So he was my guy. I'm telling you, quarterback coaches, he's the guy that said, here's how you play in the NFL. I'm going to take care of you. You're going to be backing up Pastorini, but we're going to learn the game. You have to always be ready. We trust in you. We believe in you. If anything happens to Pastorini, you're going to play. But King Hill was instrumental in my development in the National Football League.
Did he ever just tell you, get the ball to Earl Campbell and get out of the way?
Yes, he said, get the ball to Earl Campbell and get out of the way, because Earl Campbell was
Remember
a
when
beast.
Bum Phillips somebody said, Earl just carried the ball 38 times again. Isn't he going to get tired? And Earl said, why? The ball's not heavy.
We used to have to do a mile run, and Earl was just horrible at the mile run. And somebody asked Bum, he said, is the guy in shape? Can he go play? And Bum said, I've never had first in a mile. Not a first in a mile. It's first and 10.
First in a mile.
He doesn't have to run the mile very fast.
Bum always had those little, he was the Yogi Bear of professional football. So,
all right.
Okay, so King Hill, quarterback coach, back with the Oilers, is number 4. How about number 3?
And then Bum
Phillips.
Yeah, he was legendary. He was so remarkable, and he was a Texas legend. This guy knew how to bring people together like no one I've ever seen. So he could take people from all parts of the country in all economic and socioeconomic conditions and bring us together as a team like no one I've ever seen.
You know, when you pass on to the next life, he'll be right there.
He will be.
To meet you.
He will be.
You guys had quite a relationship.
We had. It was deeper than anybody will know.
Yeah.
But I finally left him in Goliad, Texas, the last time I saw him. It was unbelievable.
He'll be there.
Yeah, he'll be there.
He'll say,
No
and you
question.
were right. That's
And
the
you
other
were
thing he's going to say.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 2.
Doug Scoville. Has to be Sco.
I knew that one.
Yeah, has to be Doug Scoville. And I don't know if he gets the credit he deserves, but he is the mastermind of what we're seeing in football today. Everybody that is playing this wide open offense, it started with Doug Scoville, and you can just go to Bill Walsh and get the answer to that. Bill's on the other side now, but it was Doug Scoville. He had the West Coast offense, and everybody has developed their offense from the first West Coast offense, and that started at BYU in 1976.
Yeah. Even what everybody calls air raid, and they give Mike credit for.
No, Mike Leach.
Mike Leach.
He was in the bushes.
He
was in the bushes.
He was
at BYU.
studying what Lavelle and Doug and those guys were doing back then, and the air raid is an extension, just spreading it out a little bit, but the concepts are the same as the West Coast offense.
Exactly.
Yep. So there you go, Doug Scoville. I agree with you.
That takes us to the big one.
Yeah, it has to be Lavelle. I mean, Lavelle is just iconic. He didn't look like he was smart, but he was really smart. I mean, Lavelle was just it was just such a classic deal, especially back then. He kept saying, now, what do you think we're going to do here? What are we going to do here? What are we going to do here? And he was just kind of inquisitive about everything. And Doug was running this high-powered offense, and just Lavelle didn't know about the offense, but he just said, Doug, it's yours. Let's go. And that's the genius of Lavelle. Yeah. And then when Doug left, Wally English comes in for a year.
Oh, yeah. Mark sat right here and told us this story.
Yeah. And then, Lavelle gets Doug back.
Yeah, he did.
And makes Mark an All-American, and then makes Jim an All-American. And how they ever got Jim to redshirt, we'll all never know, but they did it.
Jim was out. Mark was out.
Yeah.
And Mark told us, he says, I never told anybody this, but I was gone. I was going to go to law school. I was done playing football. Jim was transferring. And Lavelle somehow got Doug to come back.
Yeah.
And they both stayed.
But here's the beauty of the offense, of an offensive coordinator, because we're all different, Blaine. You know this. And how does he take me, and then he shifts to Mark, and then he shifts to Jim, and then they shift to Steve, all different athletes with different abilities, but they all made the adjustment.
They thrived, yeah, absolutely thrived.
They made the adjustment, or those coaches made the adjustment.
That's great coaches. And Doug was for most of those. Right?
Oh yeah,
for most of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was Ted Toner that saw the spark in Steve, and then Mike Holmgren had Steve and really made him who he is. But Doug was all the rest of you.
And everybody was learning. And Norm sat as our tight end coach and just learned the entire offense. And then when his time came up, He had
He tailored it.
There you go.
Yeah,
the top 5 most influential people
Look at that
in
list.
Gibbs' football career.
Never been asked that question, but it's kind of interesting because what you got me doing was reflecting on the influential people in my life and the steps that happened in those high school. You start in high school. You have to start in high school because that's where your love starts.
That's what we do here on the Wise Guys.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the stories are, aren't they?
It is it's beautiful.
When you text President Nelson a happy birthday tomorrow, will you tell Dave and Blaine say hello from the Wise Guys?
I will.
Wish him a happy 101st.
It's been a number of years when he was quite a bit younger. I don't know if you remember this, Dave. One time we're sitting at our position for a basketball game, and right where we called the game from, the general authorities visiting. You sat behind us a few times there in the president's row there. Well, one time we had a tap, and it was President Nelson. He goes, "Hey, if you need me, I'm just gonna be right over here." And we're like, "Okay, well, we got you. It'd be good. We'll call you down if we need you." But he just is.
He's a remarkable,
amazing.
He came in one time, sat down in his seats, and I turned around and we made eye contact. And he goes, "Hey, Dave."
Yeah.
I was just like,
he will do that.
Hello, President.
He's told us we watch what you're doing, which Dave and I thought, wow, that's a heavy burden. That's a heavy burden right there.
They care.
Yeah.
They care what's going on. I always say this. He's always concerned about and always preaching the most important thing, the most significant thing is to gather scattered Israel. And I teach that when I'm talking to players and things like that here, I'm saying this is the athletic arm of gathering scattered Israel. And so we have to win. We have to be on top of our game. I've said that before on this program. You have to be in the conversation. When you're in the conversation, everybody wants to know more.
That's true.
Amen to that.
Scott from Idaho Falls says, my wife, Bobby Jo, says hi to Giff.
Max Warner's daughter.
Oh, my goodness.
So
that goes all the way back to
there you go.
High School.
There's a hello. Gifford Nielsen with us tonight. Thank you so much. You're welcome on the show anytime you want. We just love talking about stories and all that
You guys
stuff.
are very special, and one of the great things about everything that's going on here is the level of communication with the fans and being able to put the perspectives together of what's happening with games and things like that. And once again, I just want to encourage everybody, Cougar Nation, please be patient with our little quarterback.
Yes.
And you know what? We're going to be okay. We're going to win some games. They're not going to be absolutely beautiful, but there's going to come a time where this thing is going to open up and you're going to see some amazing things happen and you're going to go, yes, we're continuing on the right track. And let me just say this, and I'm so happy for Jake. Jake landed in Tulane.
Yep.
And he's playing now, and he's playing well, and we loved him here. And that's just what happens. You just
Dave and I still text back and forth with Jake, and Kalani even said he was very gracious in how he handled and exited, and he's been very grateful to BYU, and he said wonderful things, and we know that he actually means those things, which is really cool. So we wish him the absolute best.
And it says volumes about what is happening around here under the leadership of our new athletic director, Brian Santiago. What's happening here is just there's an excitement for football. I mean, look at that. What did you feel when you went to the stadium and you saw that stadium? Energy. And what are you thinking about basketball? And what are you thinking about track and field? And what are you thinking about volleyball? And what are you thinking about soccer? I mean, it's happening here at BYU in significant ways.
Dilgy Taylor was on the show in that seat last week, and when she left, we were all ready to go run through a wall.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She is an amazing addition to everything we're doing here at BYU, along with all of the other coaches and all of the administrators. It's just a really fun time to be a Cougar.
The great Giff Nielsen. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Giff.
Hey, sure appreciate you.
Would you please go over and say hi to President Ashton?
I will, because I love it.
We'll do a couple things, and then we'll let you guys visit for a second, and then we'll bring him in.
Love that guy right there. And I love what he's doing in West Africa.
One of the greatest quarterbacks and all-around human beings come through BYU, Gifford Nielsen, here on the Wise Guys. And man, we love hearing those stories, both the football and with President Nelson and so much more. Blaine, let's do our Relight Athlete of the Week, presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at Redmond.com. Tonight, Wise Guys is proud to honor 6'4", 215-pound sophomore safety, Falatel Satuala. And he was spectacular on Saturday night.
And he just keeps getting better every week. I can tell you his grades were outstanding for this game. He had a tackle for a safety in the second quarter. It's the first safety for BYU since 2022. I didn't realize it's been a couple of years.
We just don't see him very often. That's why the place goes bananas.
Yeah, and he had a tackle for loss on 1st and goal from the 3 in the fourth quarter that led to Stanford having to settle for a field goal. He and Tanner Wall came from free safety and strong safety, the two furthest people away from the ball, on a goal line play, and came so hard downhill that they tackled the back a yard deep in the backfield in the A gap. When I talk about the A gap, between the guard and the center. Safeties don't come down that hard and get there that fast like those two just did. No. And this is a sophomore, so that was a phenomenal play. He had an interception on Stanford's final drive to preserve that 27-3 win. And the disguise of that play, we're going to talk about an AFR tomorrow.
Right.
It was, I don't know the right word to describe it. It was so beautifully executed.
Let's call it artistic.
It was artistic. Yeah. The way they disguised that coverage was artistic. It's a great word for it, Dave.
Before he got here to BYU, he's a 4-star recruit from Bountiful High School, played in the All-American Bowl in San Antonio, Texas. And after the game Saturday, he said this to the media. He said, it would be great to keep the shutout, but I'm not mad either. It was a fun game, probably one of the best games I've had in college, but I would say there's still a lot to improve on. It was his best game at BYU, and with his size at safety and the speed, this sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, people that long don't run that fast. And he also has really good hips. You have to have good hips to be able to open up and turn and chase guys and cover. He's a relentless worker. He's very, very bright, which helps learn this complicated defense. Jay Hill does not run a simple defense. They expect these guys to have all kinds of disguises and to not show what they're doing and to jump into different things and still be in the right places. And he's just a sophomore. His progression has been so fantastic that they're just figuring out ways to get him out on the field. Because think about it, you have Tanner Wall, who's a first-team academic All-American and an NFL prospect at free safety, and you got DeMooney, who's also a crazy physical specimen and playing really well at strong safety, and they think so highly of Folitau that they're just moving him and playing him in both spots. So he's playing half the game out there in both spots, and they're trying to get him as many reps on the field because he's earned it. It's really fun.
Folitau Sautuala, our Relight Athlete of the Week, presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at Redmond.com. I love that we spotlight these athletes of the week. Gives us a chance just to talk about them, give our opinions about them, and we all watched them play, or we'll watch them run, or we'll watch them shoot as we move through the year. But Sautuala was outstanding on Saturday. And as Blaine mentioned, join us tomorrow on After Further Review over on the BYU TV app at 5 o'clock Mountain Time. We'll break down all the big plays from Stanford, set the table for East Carolina. By the way, Jordan is in on the stream from Greenville, North Carolina. Says, sorry I'm late, but the ECU will be tougher than Stanford and Provo. Trust me. Yeah, they will. And,
absolutely.
And we'll preview them a little bit on AFR. And again, certainly next week as we get into game
and we've
week.
been talking about that since the beginning, that each game of this preseason gets a little bit more difficult. And now you go on the road to the East Coast against a team that's spreading the ball out and throwing it. They're traditionally really good defensively. They had a little bit of a dip last year, but you can't expect, they've always been good defensively. This is going to be a challenge for BYU.
Before we bring in our next guest, let's put up this football and the hat.
Oh, yeah.
We've got something cool here that we did last year, and we're doing it again. We've got an autographed football from the whole team. With, I think it might be Bear's first autographed football because he's
Should
in
I
there.
go grab it, Dave?
Well, we got a picture of it. DJ's going to put it up. And what we're doing is we're going to auction off this football and hat to raise money for the Ephraim Hope Mission. We part of their golf tournament that we did over the summer. If you're not familiar with them, Ephraim Hope Mission, they're doing great work. They provide tuition, books, and uniforms for kids in Uganda who otherwise wouldn't have a chance to go to school. 100% of the money raised by this charity goes directly to the kids. No administrative costs, no overhead. Every single dollar that we make, Cougar Nation, on this football auction and hat, that goes straight to Ephraim Hope, to the kids there, and of course the donations are tax deductible. So tonight we're kicking off an online auction for these two items, and here they are. Autographed football from this year's team that's 2-0. And there's Siali Acera. He autographed that hat, and that is one awesome linebacker. And so here's what we're doing. Last year we auctioned off a similar ball, and the winning bid was $5,500. That sent 23 kids to school for a full year. And then second, we've got the hat signed by Acera. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So tell them how they can do it.
So what you're going to do is you're going to go over to our website, wiseguys.com.
Okay.
You log in there and then click on the Contact Us tab and then use the form on Contact Us to send a bid. That's it.
That's it.
So contact us at our website and then put a bid in. We're putting a link in the chat right now, I think. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So put the link in the chat right now. If you're watching the recording or you're listening to the podcast, the link's in the show notes. So you can go to the show notes and you can find the link. The minimum starting bid for the hat is going to be $50.
Okay.
So you can't bid. Don't go in and bid less than $50. The minimum starting bid for the football is $1,000. And as you mentioned, the last one went for $5,500. And think about this. This thing's signed by this year's team. We don't know where they're going to go. But if you get this thing and they end up going to the college football playoff and playing in a national championship game or something even
or
close.
Or someday Bear wins the Heisman Trophy.
Then you are going to have a great deal right there. So keep that in mind. Remember, every dollar, as Dave mentioned, goes straight to helping these kids in Uganda through our charity Ephraim Hope mission. Let's make a difference. Let's do this together. We love having the opportunity to make a difference all around the world, and Wise Guys is a big part about this. Get your bids in, spread the word. Let's see how many Ugandan kids we can help get to, get their educations, and we'll change these villages over in Uganda.
Yeah. And it's like, why do you have a minimum bid? Because we're doing this to raise money.
That's right.
We're not doing it to see how cheap we can get you a football. This is what can we do with this football that can bless the lives of so many kids in Uganda. And that is a perfect segue to where we're going next. Wise Guys is excited to announce a partnership with BYU Pathway Worldwide. Each month on this show, we'll receive pass on news and information about BYU Pathway, including interviews from folks, graduates from around the world who've used BYU Pathway as a way to improve their lives. And with that said, our next guest is a BYU grad with an MBA from Harvard. Education a big part of his life, working to increase learning opportunities around the planet. As the president of BYU Pathway Worldwide, it's our pleasure to welcome Brian K. Ashton to the Wise Guys. Thank you for being here.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with football, though.
Okay.
And we want your assessment of Saturday's battle. Two very highly acclaimed academic institutions in Stanford and BYU out on the field of battle. BYU and Stanford going at it. BYU is victorious in this one. What are your thoughts on the game?
I mean, the defense was incredible.
Right.
And the offense, if they clean up some things, will look really, really good. So
amen to that.
I'm very excited about where it's going.
Who was your quarterback when you went through school?
Ty Detmer.
Nice. Well played. Yeah. That was a good time.
I was there on the 40-yard line, about 5 yards up or 5 rows up, when we beat Miami.
Oh man!
Did you charge the field?
I don't remember if I charged the field. I think we did.
I think everyone did that was down low.
That was a long time ago.
I'm old enough that I called that game, but I just remember the electric atmosphere before the game even started.
Oh, absolutely.
And it never dissipated.
Yeah.
It seemed like the electricity was up here from start to finish. Did you feel that as a fan?
I did. In fact, I actually watched this game the other day. I had surgery and I couldn't sleep, and so I pulled it up and watched the whole game again.
Nice.
That's great.
There was an energy at the stadium the other night. It was Stanford, and BYU was a big favorite. And then the week before, it was Portland State, and they were even bigger favorite. But that Miami night was big because they were number one. But it seems like every night is big now at the stadium. They're sold out, and it's just where people want to be, and you can feel it.
Yeah. In our family, everybody wants to go every weekend. And not everyone gets to go every weekend, so sometimes we have some unhappy people.
How do you divvy this? We have the same problem. Is there a better method than how are you guys divvying these out? Because we're not being great at this.
We're just letting the younger kids go first.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sports can be a powerful tool for good in the lives of so many. We've seen how members of this BYU football team have been mentors for students in other countries through BYU Pathway. How's that going?
It's going great. I mean, guys like Chase Roberts and Tanner Wall and Connor Pay last year have been mentors to these students. And Kalani says, when you're involved in something bigger than yourself, it really makes a difference. It helps keep you grounded. And for those students, it makes a huge, huge difference. I'll just tell you one quick story. We have one student who's in Kenya. His wife took a trip to do some business and was raped and murdered. And he was left with some kids and just had a really hard time. And I think it was Tanner who was mentoring him. He struggled at first. He got some remote jobs and struggled, but he's overcome it. He's doing great. That mentoring has made a huge difference, and his current employer just said he's amazing. So
it's interesting that and Blaine was a football player, so he knows this. But there's something special, and I've seen the Zoom calls, right, with a football team and 100 or 50
the prayers,
and the prayers we've heard at LaVell Stadium. But there is something special about talking to a football player. What is it?
I think it's just, they're excited about life. You talked about the energy at the stadiums. I mean, they feel that. Let me tell you one other quick story. We had that first prayer, and we got a letter from a football player. This one was in, I think it was in Nigeria. In fact, it was in Nigeria. And he wrote us and he said, "I'm a football player. I'd like to try out for the BYU football team." And then he sent us a tape. And of course, he was a soccer player.
That different kind of football, right?
And we explained, different kind of football, and we had a great talk. But he ended up joining the church.
Really?
Because he was so excited about this partnership and what he learned. He ended up joining the church. He's now a BYU Pathway student. He was at the time then, too. But has done really, really well. And it's just amazing what this partnership has done in far-flung places all over the world.
Yeah. And so, to clarify, you don't have to be a member of the church to benefit from BYU Pathway, right?
Right. We have, education is typically, there's been a limited number of seats. When you're online, you have an unlimited number of seats. And so we're able to have, a number of non-members come, and they don't have to get baptized. We want them to learn, and we want them to grow. But many of them choose to come and make covenants with Jesus Christ through baptism.
Right. Brian K. Ashton, president of BYU Pathway Worldwide, is on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus Mountain America Credit Union. And Eddie, Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News, and our live stream has brought folks in again tonight from all over the world. In what ways have you seen additional education change a person's life?
Oh, I mean, we're here to receive light, right? Light and truth. That's what Doctrine and Covenants 88 teaches us. Doctrine and Covenants 93. And education is one of those ways you can do it. In fact, DNC 88 says that you're to learn by study and by faith. And study is one of those key things, and we help you do both. There's a religious component and there's an academic component. And so we have seen people go from being told their whole lives, you're not college material, to then coming into BYU Pathway, gaining confidence, doing really well, and growing in their lives. They get great jobs. I mean, we have a young woman from Africa who ended up working. She was in a abusive marriage. She was forced into a marriage at 14, had 4 kids, couldn't leave her home. Eventually had to sneak out, and she foraged in the forest for 1 meal a day for her kids. But she joined the church. She found out about BYU Pathway. Said all I wanted was a chance, and she ended up working for a venture capital firm in Chicago.
Wow,
so many great stories. So in the BYU education family, there's BYU Provost campus, the mothership, BYU Idaho, BYU Hawaii, Ensign College. How does BYU Pathway fit into this group?
So each institution in the church educational system has a role. Our role is to be the access provider. And so we help provide confidence to students, and we take the programs of these other institutions, currently mostly BYU, Idaho, and Ensign College, and take them all over the world and make them accessible to people there. So,
financially, and I read this on BYUpathway.org because there's everything there. How does it stack up against traditional college costs, which is another big reason why kids out of high school go, I can't afford to go to college?
Yeah. So we are the most inexpensive bachelor's degree in the United States, $6,500. And then
for the entire bachelor's degree?
For the entire bachelor's degree. And it's a 3-year degree. We were the first one in the United States. And so that 3-year bachelor's degree offered by, accredited by Ensign College or BYU Idaho, you can get for a really low cost. If you live outside the United States, it's much less expensive. So Latin America is $1,500, Africa is $300. So it's amazing what the church makes possible.
Yeah. That is cool. President Brian K. Ashton of BYU Pathway Worldwide on the Wise Guys, which has been being seen around the world on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com. As people listen to this and look for more information, the first thought that comes to mind is, where can I get more information to sign up?
So go to byupathway.edu and you can sign up. If you want to join, if you want to get your degree through BYU Pathway, it takes about 5 minutes to fill out the application, and we'd love to have you.
And it's that easy for a reason, because you want people to do it.
Yeah, the whole point is to make education available to anyone.
Yeah.
Dave mentioned when Giff was on that the slogan, "The world is our campus," right? When you think about this as you're coming to BYU, and then you think about BYU Pathways, BYU TV that Dave and I do a bunch of things for, is a global entity now. Pathway is everywhere in the world. It's easy to see how the statement rings true more than ever.
Yeah. We're in 192 countries.
My goodness.
So anywhere you go in the world, basically, there's BYU Pathway, and there's access to a spiritually based, low-cost education through the church educational system.
So where's it going? Is it going to every country? Is it where you have Wi-Fi, you can be a BYU Pathway student? What is the sky the limit?
President Eyring told me that he said, you will teach the whole world. He said they're not ready for religion, but they are ready for education. And we see that all the time. I'm constantly meeting with cabinet ministers of education, prime ministers, and they say, this is what we need here. They can't build more campuses in their countries. It's just too expensive.
Yeah.
And so this gives them an opportunity. The other thing that we do is, because of COVID-19, you can now get a remote job. 60% of our students live in areas where the labor markets don't work very well. There aren't a lot of jobs, and they don't pay well if there are jobs. And there's so much labor that oftentimes, they'll just have you work and they won't pay you because there's someone else who will do it.
Yeah.
So a lot of our students end up getting remote jobs working for companies here in the United States, in Western Europe, in Australia, places like that. And they're able to stay home, build the kingdom of God in their countries, and it makes just a huge difference. So if anyone out there is listening and they want some really high quality people with a US-based education that speak English well, that can work across borders, talk to us. The guy you want to call actually is Isaiah Kafusi.
Okay, Isaiah Kafusi.
That's our guy right
he's
there.
He's helping us with that. And actually, I'll give you his email address. But,
yes.
Sorry, 1 second.
So Isaiah's been on our pregame show and our postgame shows over the years. And, of course, we watched him play at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. And there's a big guy with a big smile that's very impactful.
Isaiah's awesome. Connor Pay is also helping. But you can reach Isaiah at emx-1.com.
Isaiah at enx-1.
EM is in Mary.
Okay.
X-1.com.
And when we reach out to Isaiah, what's he going to tell us?
He's going to tell you he loves working with BYU Pathway students. He's going to say they give him hope. And, that's something we all need. It's interesting. We have all these problems here in the United States that are first world problems. And, 48% of our students are in Africa. When Elder Nielsen said there's probably 20,000 students in Nigeria, he was exactly right. That's how many there are. And they don't have all the blessings we have. But that forces them to rely upon God, and that faith gives them hope. And they just smile, and they're happy. And, they don't have all the things we have, but that's okay. They don't have to worry about the things we worry about.
That's true. That's true. We're looking forward to telling the BYU Pathway story through our medium of Wise Guys by interviewing your graduates from other countries and letting them just say, hey, here's what it did for me. And in visiting with the staff and as we've worked this together, part of the challenge is to let everyone know that it exists. And
I used to tell my team, I wish we had a football team. Everyone would know what BYU Pathway does.
that's true.
And Kalani's been great to include us and to say, they're the football team for everyone. But, BYU Pathway started as the Pathway program, and it was a way to get into BYU Idaho. It's grown significantly beyond that. Now it's a way to get a bachelor's degree anywhere in the world. And anyone, whether you've just graduated from high school or you're 99, we'll take you, and we're excited to have you, and you'll learn by study and by faith, and you'll have the Holy Ghost more in your life.
And if they have a jump shot, you know Kevin Young, and you can pass that information
That's exactly
along.
right.
That is fantastic. Let's do 5 questions for President Ashton, presented by Strategy Square. Let Chantel help your business boost its productivity through social media. You can reach her at strategysquare.com. By the way, Chantel is a product of BYU Pathway.
Thank you, Chantel.
And it's blessed her life, and she's been a big part of us and our growth.
And by the way, we've only talked about the students outside the United States. We
That's
have
true.
24,000 students in the United States.
Yeah, Chantel she coordinates all of our social media for us, and this is where she got her degree.
Yeah.
And she does a fantastic job for us.
And we have a great social media program.
Yeah, awesome. That's
Sweet
really cool.
deal. Okay, here come 5 questions. You'll be judged by these.
Okay. Yes, and this is forever out there.
And if I get them wrong, my kids will give
there's
me a
no
hard
wrong.
time
Yes,
forever.
they will.
There's no wrong. There may be some will make fun of you,
Maybe
but no,
question.
we won't do that. We won't do that. And you just have to say the first thing that comes to your head. So, what's your favorite sports movie?
Probably Hoosiers.
Classic.
Ah.
That is a classic.
Do you know who's his Hoosiers? Marie
Osmond?
Marie Osmond's his Hoosiers. Yeah, she came on the show and she just Hoosiers. Like, yeah, you're right to a basketball.
We don't think Steve Craig made her say Hoosiers. We think she actually
likes
loved
that movie.
Hoosiers.
It's a great movie.
It's a great one. So, okay, your favorite singer or band?
Your
Oh,
kids
boy.
will judge you on this
My
one.
kids will judge me on this. I really like Five for Fighting, although recently I have listened to a Christian singer by the name of Laura Story, who I've really enjoyed.
Okay, I'm going to have to look at that one up, Laura Story. But we know Five for Fighting.
Yeah, we
I
do.
can't stand to fly. That one, right?
Yeah.
Lovely story.
I'm not that naive. I have to sing every show. Okay, Five for Fighting. I love that one. Favorite breakfast cereal?
Well, if it has to be a cereal, it's oatmeal with raisins.
Okay.
What if it didn't have to be a cereal?
It would be a yogurt parfait with blueberries.
Okay. All right. That's how you roll.
But does the yogurt parfait have some granola in it?
I love it with granola, but it doesn't have to.
So, because it might constitute a sort of cereal if it's granola in the yogurt.
That's fair. That's
So,
fair.
okay.
Oatmeal with raisins. You lost me at raisins, but we've all grown up on oatmeal.
So my dad is 90, and I was over at his house yesterday, and he put this concoction together. He had a big bowl, and it had yogurt and oatmeal and raisins and cranberries, and I was like, man, no wonder he made it to 90. This is the healthiest, best looking thing I've ever seen.
Sounds like a man after my own heart.
It was great. So, okay, your favorite BYU moment. And it doesn't have to be a sports moment. You're just your favorite BYU moment ever.
I mean, of course, it's the Miracle Bowl
Miracle Bowl.
and Jim McMahon's pass to Clay Brown.
Were you there or were you watching it?
No, I was watching it, and I was pretty young. I remember my brother and I went in the other room right before that final play and prayed that they'd win. Now, I don't encourage my kids to do that, and it probably wasn't the right thing to do, but boy, we were invested in that game.
Listen, I was at a deacon's corn party, and we were sure we were going to lose. We were out playing football in the snow, and then we came in and watched the finish, which was spectacular. So you went in, you left the room, you asked for some intervention, and 2 Catholics hooked up for the big pass.
We didn't care how it happened. We just wanted to win.
That's awesome.
It's great stuff.
And then, as Lavelle says, a return missionary kicked the extra point.
That's right.
That's how that went down.
Number 5, and then we have a bonus one for you. But number 5 is your favorite BYU Pathway moment.
Oh, boy, that one's hard. Probably, I was in Brazzaville in the Republic of the Congo in June, and we held a graduation. And not only were people graduating and speaking English, this is a French-speaking country. I mean, and there were so many people that the building we had wasn't big enough. They actually had to put a tent out in the street There were literally hundreds of people there. And they talked, these students who had followed over 3 years were just exuding confidence. They ran it. It was like night and day. And then not only and they had fun. We could learn a lot from them in graduations. There wasn't lots of speeches, and you didn't have to sit there. We danced.
It was actually a celebration.
It was a celebration.
I love that.
But what I really loved about it was the couples that came up that were getting married, and the people who had increased their faith and had made covenants with the Lord. And that was it was one of the most remarkable experiences of my life.
I love that story. So my wife's family, my mother and father-in-law opened the Congo up.
Did they really?
Yeah, they were called on a mission to serve in Kinshasa, Zaire.
Yeah.
And there was a little break in the civil war there, and they said, here's a list of names of people that left the Congo and went to study in other places that are back in the Congo. We're going to have a limited bit of time here. You go across the river into Brazzaville, and you gather these saints, and you organize a branch, and you do some baptizing, and we don't know how long you're going to be there, but when we leave, there has to be enough strength for that country to sustain itself. So they went over, you look in the archives, it talks about Brother and Sister Birmingham, and there's pictures of him pulling people out of the river of being baptized. And so they established it. It wasn't that long that they were there. They went back, but there was enough leadership there. And look at what has happened in the Congo now.
Well, whatever they did a great job. And I'm sure the Lord helped them, but he had good servants to help.
Yeah. So that's a big part of my family's history.
Congratulations.
Very cool. That's good stuff.
Let's do our bonus question.
Here's the bonus question.
And then I have something for you guys.
Okay. Oh, that'd be great. Okay. What's your birthday wishes? We're going to allow you to do this over, your birthday wishes for President Nelson, who turns 101 tomorrow.
President Nelson is one of the kindest people you'd ever want to meet. And we sit in our board meetings and I get to watch him. And he just exudes joy. And I think it's hard being 101.
It has to be.
And so I know what it's like to get old, but I don't have any idea what it's like to be 101. And so my hope is that he's happy, he's comfortable, and he has family with him.
Yeah, those are great wishes. Fantastic.
Well,
what you got there?
I brought some shirts for you, some BYU Pathway shirts.
Oh, nice.
This is my first time really being up close to you guys in person, and we probably have the wrong size. So I'll send you a different size, but...
we both are largest. We both do large.
Well, these are extra larges, and so we'll have to get you a large.
I would have been an extra large back in my playing days, but I'm a lot lighter, which is a good thing.
We're thrilled to be partners together in spreading the word of BYU Pathway worldwide and what it can do for people. And you're welcome to come on here whenever you want.
Let me mention one other thing.
Okay.
Jane Clayson Johnson did a documentary on BYU Pathway that's going to be on BYU TV. It's going to play between sessions of conference here in October, so we'd encourage your viewers to watch that.
3 weeks on BYU TV.
On BYU TV between sessions of conference.
Jane was my student when I was in graduate school.
Was she really?
She had Comms 101. I was a teaching assistant at that time. And
well, you did a great job with her.
She was amazing, actually. Best student we had.
We'll hit that again on next week's show and the week leading into General Conference, too, for a lot of folks to check that out.
Right.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we look forward to having many of your graduates on the show, and they can talk about how through BYU Pathway they were able to change their life for the better, and that'll be outstanding.
Thanks. And you'll love meeting them.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Thanks, guys.
President Ashton, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
And we're glad you and Giff could hang out for a little bit. When Giff found out you were coming, I think that's why he talked so much, because he knew he was going to stay on until you got here so you guys could visit.
He's got a great love for Western Africa, as you know.
And he and Wendy are terrific.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay.
All right, that's President Ashton, BYU Pathway Worldwide.
Thank you for these. We'll wear these with pride, too.
And part of the Wise Guys now as we move forward. And we love having awesome interviews on this show. And we've had a whole bunch with a lot of folks that we all know. And we're going to use this window to introduce the Cougar Nation to some BYU Pathway grads who are very far away from here, or they might just be down the street. Right?
Yeah.
It's the whole world.
They're all over.
And we look forward to that. By the way, Campus Notes is presented by BYU Pathway Worldwide. Get all the details on how to continue your own education at byupathway.org. Let's start with men's hoops.
Yeah, ESPN's latest preseason basketball top 25 has BYU ranked number 6 in the country. And ESPN, they did projected starters on this. And in their projected starters, they had DeBansa, Richie Saunders, Rob Wright, Kennard Davis Jr., and Keba Keita.
How about that starting?
That's a lineup right there. Can I just tell you
I
something?
want to see that.
There's a lot of people who are going to get dunked on by that
Oh,
group.
yeah. It's going to be good. By the way, AJ was on his podcast the other day, or on a podcast, talking to somebody nationally. He said his GPA was a 4.0 for spring semester. Welcome to BYU.
How about that?
And then he went and won a gold medal. You know, he couldn't do summer term because he had to go play for the United States at the U19 squad that won it all, and he was MVP. Richie Saunders was with us on game day on Saturday. We hope you saw that. And he said, be prepared for tater tot ice cream.
Yeah.
There's something coming down the lane.
When he explained it, he said it's it's crunchy, so it's more like, and I said, is it like a churroed ice cream? He goes, yeah, but tater tots.
But tater tots. All right.
I can't wait.
Brace yourself.
So,
and when it comes out, we'll have some on the show.
We'll definitely
get
have it.
Richie on the show and we'll try it out.
Yeah,
and
for
we'll
sure.
see what happens.
Soccer is now 4-1-1. And their national ranking is currently at number 11. There's a new poll out tomorrow. They defeated Utah State 2-0, and then they lost to number 13 Arkansas 1-0.
Yeah, Arkansas came in to Provo and beat them. That doesn't usually happen
very often.
The bounce back was against Utah State. They beat them Saturday before the football game, and now they've got Utah Valley Friday night at Southfield at 7:00 Mountain Time on ESPN Plus. Big 12 openers coming up at Arizona State on September 18th. And Ellie Walbrook, their star player, was scheduled to be on tonight's show, but a commitment came up that she really needed to be at, so she quickly rescheduled for September 29th.
Yeah,
so
great.
Ellie will be here, and that'll be awesome.
Yeah, let's go to women's volleyball. 6-0 right now. I was at the match on Thursday night, national ranking number 19. In fact, this is like this is women's volleyball right here.
Yeah, that's right, because we got some shirts.
Yeah. So
I got one just like that I'm going to wear on Sports Nation.
No, this is great. So Heather gave these to us. I wear it with pride. My women's volleyball team, Cougar, I guess it covers all volleyball. So
yeah, that's cool.
But she said she was going to get some gear, so it's pretty awesome. National ranking 19, Nike Invitational recap. I was at the Thursday night game. They defeated Northern Colorado 3-2. It was a little bit of a tough match. But good for this team. Then they defeated Wichita State 3-1 and defeated Incarnate Word 3-0. So all in all, they went 9 games won, and only 3 to win the tournament. So
competition goes up this week.
Yeah, big time.
In the LMU Invitational in Los Angeles, BYU will play USC. They're ranked in the top 20. That's Thursday night at 7 Mountain Time. And then BYU will play LMU, the host school, Friday night at 7, and then Western Michigan Saturday afternoon at 1. Their next home game is Weber State on September 16th. In 2 weeks, Suli Davis will be on the show, and she is next level freshman, but just a spectacular volleyball player. Great personality, and she'll be on the show.
Can't wait to have her on. I visited with her after the match the other night. And she is Fui Vakapuna of BYU football fame, the great running back, is her uncle.
Yeah.
And she's been living with Fui and his family here in town. And what a sweetheart she is. And man, is she good. You should see her come up and kill it, as an outside hitter.
You don't want to be on the other side of the net. In
So-
fact, if you're on the other side of the net and she's coming, you should just leave.
You could get hurt.
You should just
could
leave.
get hurt.
Just walk away.
Can't wait to have her on the show. Cross country, both men's and women's teams won the Autumn Classic in Orem, as expected. The women are currently ranked number 1. New poll comes out. I would expect them to still be number 1. Get used to that, right?
Yeah.
The men are number 4. Up next, women at the Cowboy Jamboree, September 26th in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and the men are at the Gans Creek Classic. That's September 26th in Columbia, Missouri.
We think that Jane Hedegren's debut might be that week.
Yeah, they didn't. Dilgy didn't have a run in this thing this weekend.
No,
she could have. She'd been fine, but she's just bringing her along slow. She said, "We're going to take it slow. We're going to develop her. We're going to keep her healthy. We're going to take this team, and we're going to peak at nationals." That's what she told us.
Since we were last together on Wise Guys, former Cougars Connor Mance and Aubrey Friendtheway each won the U.S. 20 KM championship in New Haven, Connecticut. Both runners are coached by Ed Eyestone, who's the track and field coach at BYU. Both former Cougars, national champs. That's what they do. They just go win, and they just keep winning. And then they go to the Olympics, and they do stuff.
What's the song? All I do is win, 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 no matter what. That's what these guys are doing.
It's just fantastic. Let's roll out of here on this Monday ahead of a bye week. We had a 2-0 record for the football team. A lot happened on this day on September 8th. Let's go old school.
Let's go to 1504.
Okay.
This is when Michelangelo's statue of David was unveiled in Florence. And have you ever seen this in real life? We just did a couple of summers ago. It is spectacular. Like, it's breathtaking. You walk into and he built it to sit up on the corner of a building in Florence, but when you walk into the museum and you turn that corner, it's down the corridor and in that rotunda. It is spectacular. If you ever get a chance to get to Florence.
I've seen the one in Vegas at Caesars.
It's sort of the same.
Pretty cool. I think he's got a fountain coming out of him.
Yeah, the level of detail in Michelangelo's great work is unbelievable.
If my wife's listening, she just rolled her eyes.
1504.
On this day in 1960, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho was released in U.S. theaters. 1960.
Scary.
Yeah.
It was still scary in the 80s when I saw it for the first time.
Right.
1966, Star Trek premieres on NBC with William Shatner.
How about that?
Yeah. 66.
He's been around a long time.
Yeah.
1974 on this day, Evel Knievel fails in his attempt to jump Idaho's Snake River Canyon on his motorcycle. He landed and crashed and suffered minor injuries. Probably in the "is this a good idea" conversation. Probably should have never happened.
Not a good idea.
But that's what he tried to do on this day in 1974.
He jumped some stuff in Vegas, didn't he?
Yeah, he wrecked, jumped the fountains, or Robbie did, his son, and wrecked.
Yeah.
It's the thing. Here's the thing. On a motorcycle, it's not intended for you to fly.
And then when they wreck, they get better ratings.
Yeah, exactly. It's like NASCAR. When there's a wreck, we're all watching.
2021, Yankee star Derek Jeter is inducted in Baseball Hall of Fame.
What a great player he was,
Yeah.
an ambassador
Great
for
ambassador
the
of the
game.
game. Yep.
September 8th, birthdays, 1932, Patsy Cline, country singer.
1940, Elder Quentin L. Cook, member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We know that Elder Cook is a huge BYU fan.
Oh, yeah.
Elder Sikahema, Vi Sikahema, tells us that Elder Cook might be the biggest up there.
Yeah. He is all in on the Cougs. 1979 on this day, Pink was born. Singer.
Great talent.
Great voice.
1990, Matthew Dellavedova.
Now, why would we ever put him on this list?
He's of the Cavaliers, but hit the half-court shot to beat BYU at the Marriott Center. Who can forget that awful night?
So, remember,
They called it the Dellavedagger shot.
Tyler Haas hit this crazy shot at the top of the key to give BYU the lead. Place is going bananas. They throw it in. Dellavedova's at half court, and he nails the shot.
We didn't mention Dellavedova of St. Mary's fame.
He nailed the shot. Yeah. So it's all burned in our personal history.
It was his birthday.
And that's the only reason he's on this list. He was born on this day. September 8th, deaths of note. In 2014, S. Truett Cathy.
Yeah. I just ate some of his food the other day.
The founder of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, there you go.
It is. Have you ever driven past a Chick-fil-A where there's not a line going all the way around it unless they're closed?
We had our friends here, Tony and Nora, that we've met multiple times.
Yeah.
And we were going to get something to eat. And I said, where do you guys want to go? Like, what do you want to do? And we were willing to take them anywhere. Money was no object because my friends from New York were here. And they said, do you guys have Chick-fil-A? I said, you got to be kidding me right now. They go, no, we don't have Chick-fil-A in New York. We love the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, they do.
So we took them out for this great meal
at
to Chick-fil-A. And I got to admit, it was good.
Good for you.
It was
glad
good.
They were happy.
So how about 2022? On this day, September 8th, Queen Elizabeth II passed away.
Our Wise Guys Inspirational Quote of the Week is from Elder Quentin L. Cook, who said,
peace is not just safety or lack of war, violence, conflict, contention. Peace comes from knowing that the Savior knows who you are. He knows that we have faith in him, love him, and keep his commandments, even and especially amid life's devastating trials and tragedies. So
that's Elder Quentin L. Cook.
Peace isn't just lack of war and safety. It is the peace that comes with the Savior.
Yeah, and most of the time, people are in a trial or a tragedy. You know, and in some form in their life. We had an activity at church the other day in the fifth Sunday, second hour, and everyone was kind of talking. We were in groups of 6, and we're talking about challenges that we're facing and how how the Savior's helped us through it or whatever. And I kind of went around, and I couldn't believe everyone had them. No one said, I'm good. Yeah. Well, one person said they were good, and I think they probably were good. But I was just sitting there going, we're all in it. Everyone's got challenges and conflicts and tragedies, and I love that quote from Elder Cook.
Yeah, peace comes through the Savior. Tony and Nora were with us, and you know him, like I mentioned. Yeah. Tony's a minister, and we took him to Fast and Testimony meeting at my brother-in-law's board, and people got up and talked about their challenges and how the Savior has helped them through the challenges, and he felt like he wanted to bear testimony of Jesus Christ. He says, can you go up? I'm going, absolutely. Yeah. So he goes up, and he bore an amazing testimony that the Savior is what brings peace, and that the Savior is the way to overcome challenges, and that we need to be grateful. It was really wonderful to have a person, not a member of our faith, bear great testimony of the Savior Jesus Christ in one of our Fast and Testimonies. Really a fun moment.
That's cool. The Coug dude on the stream. My son just got his first job at Chick-fil-A. No work on Sundays, saving up for his mission. Yeah. Nice job. Chick-fil-A is not open on Sunday. All right. Well, our special thanks to BYU Hall of Famer Gifford Nielsen. Some fantastic insights on Bear Bachmeier and his young career moving forward. Every snap he gets is an education, right? And we're going to watch Bear.
Gifford is really, I was going to say this, and then I realized what I was going to say. Gifford's really bullish on Bear.
Yeah.
Can you say bullish on Bear?
You can in Chicago.
Yeah, he was very bullish on Bear.
President Brian K. Ashton of BYU Pathway Worldwide was fantastic. Fun to announce our partnership with Wise Guys and BYU Pathway. And that's that right there. There are modern day miracles in the church. I think BYU TV is one of them because it knows no bounds, and proselyting in countries where you can't send missionaries, BYU TV is already there. Mm-hmm. Book of Mormon obviously is number one, but here in this modern day, BYU Pathway and helping people educate themselves to get a better job wherever they are in the world is one of the most Christ-like things you could do as an organized entity like a church is help people help themselves and lift themselves out of a challenge and provide for their family and be a leader. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Changing the world through education. Yeah. I love it.
All right, next week, former Cougar Derwin Gray, speaking of outstanding alums, is going to be on the show. We'll preview East Carolina.
That's right. He's based in North Carolina, isn't he?
Yeah. Matt Sanders is going to join us to discuss BYU and revenue share. So there'll be some really interesting insights there. Christian Eisinger is the BYU alumni rep, getting everybody ready for East Carolina and the tailgates. And we're also going to hear from 2 of the pilots who are going to do the F-15 flyovers before that game. One's a BYU grad. One is a recent convert to the church. And they've got a great story. Anytime we get pilots on this show, as you know, we're all for it. We wish the flyover was here, but BYU's not here, so the flyover is there. And it's going to be F-15s, and that's cool.
That's very cool.
And what's cool is the flyover over the East Carolina home game is being done by BYU guys.
Yeah. That's got to be good karma for the Cougs.
That has to be good karma. So that's on next week's show.
Hey, where are you going to find Dave and I this week? Well, we'll both be on AFR tomorrow, every Tuesday night, of course, 5 p.m. Mountain on BYU TV app. And once it hits the app, you can watch it, and you can watch it anytime from that point forward. It'll always be out there. I'll be on Sports Nation tomorrow morning. Dave, you'll be on Sports Nation Wednesday and Friday.
I'm co-hosting Wednesday and Friday, I believe, with Jason Shepard.
Yeah.
And so that'll be cool.
I'm just a guest tomorrow. So
just to show up and offer some insights.
Yeah, they want to get a little preview of AFR and talk about some of the stuff at the game. So I'll be on at about 10:30 tomorrow morning Mountain Time.
And I'll be in the Deseret News throughout the week. So it'll be a busy week for all of us. Even if it's a bye week for the team, the machine doesn't stop, right?
That's right.
Shout out to President Russell M. Nelson, President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He turns 101 tomorrow. We send our heartfelt birthday wishes. He wrote an op-ed in Time magazine this week about his birthday wishes for the world and what he'd love. And we read it last night as a family. Understand where you came from and treat other people like you would want them to treat you. The golden rule, love God and love your neighbor. That was the running theme, his birthday wish for the world. And 101, we joked on the set on Saturday when President Reese was with us, BYU's president, and we were talking about President Nelson's birthday, and we said, you used to sing "And Many More" till you're 104.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we might have to change that song because he's closing in.
He's closing in.
At 101 tomorrow. So we hope he has a great day.
Awesome stuff. And we sure had fun with our show tonight. Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus. Supplies plus support. Find out more at bradyplus.com.
By Eddie, HR and payroll software built for small businesses. See how Eddie can serve your team at eddy.com.
And by Mountain America Credit Union, empowering dreams for over 80 years. Find out what they can do for you at macu.com.
Our Relight Athlete of the Week is presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. And Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News. Yeah.
We'll see y'all. We'll see you tomorrow night.
We'll see you tomorrow on AFR.
I'll see you tomorrow on Sports Nation. Dave will see you on Sports Nation later, but we'll see you all right back here next week.
Let's tell your friends and let's gather the world of Cougar Nation as we do. This show just gets better and better. Thanks, everybody.